Good. So second question is how to organize when you are overwhelmed. And this is very fundamental question, very important one, especially in the current times. We have so many inputs, we have so much information coming to us on a daily basis, on every second, that often it is very hard to organize, it is very hard to keep yourself calm, and it is very hard to react on that amount of information, that amount of contacts. Often, actually, our daily reality is that we speak with the people from different cities, different countries, different continents, and often those are tens, if not hundreds, of contacts over a short period of time. That being said, when they all come to you in a certain moment, when you have tasks to perform at the same time, when you have issues to resolve in the same time, when you have deadlines, it is sometimes almost unmanageable to do everything. And that is when people get overwhelmed. That is when people get stressed. That is when more issues appear, when we lose patience, when we are under high stress and anxiety appears. So that is the moment in which many of us find ourselves in sooner or later. So now the question is how we manage it, how we find ourselves returning back to some calmness levels. And I will tell you what I do, and probably every one of us has different approach to such a problem, but there is no one clear answer. It is more on a individual basis. You may know what works for you, and maybe the main maybe the most convenient approach is to try to and test one approach, test another one, and see what does work for you. But what works for me is setting up priorities and actually physically writing down things that I need to do. So when I have huge amount of things to do, I like to simply put them down on the paper. So simply to transfer this mess in the head, transfer this energy that I need to use in order to have all of the all of the things in my head actually to the paper. So immediately I'm somehow make an order in a mess. So first of all, I'm writing things down, and then I'm setting priorities. And that's why we have to have priorities when we cannot perform everything right now. And if we can perform all of the things in our 8 hours, then we more or less we don't need priorities, but we need actually to know what to concentrate first on. And actually, not always you can make that decision. Not always things depend on you. And it is worth to ask to your manager, to your colleagues, to your whomever you work with, to set those priorities, straight, to say, okay, out of these 10 things, the most important ones are these 3, then we have following 4, and then we have following 3 of a lowest priority. What you cannot allow is answer that everything is important. So if everything is of the same priority, and if everything is of a priority 1, actually nothing has priority. So we have to be persistent in a way that we have to find what is priority 1, what is priority 2, and the 3. Ideally, you would already know it, but it is very, very recommendable actually to ask your team members what the most important things are. And then when you have it, try simply to avoid additional influences and information flow while you're concentrating on a priority. Today, that is very, very hard to do. We have our phones, we have our applications, we have our chats, we have our phone calls. Amount of channels through which people can reach to us, it's overwhelming. And we simply have to switch off ourselves often. So, for example, my team knows that I am most probably not replying to emails. That is not because I disrespect them or because I don't want to. It's simply low efficiency of that communication channel if we want to converse, talk, agree. I use emails as official documentation when something needs to be confirmed, officially agreed, and actually officially confirmed that we have agreed on a certain topic. So, for example, emails is something that is on a very, very low priority on my to-do list. And then I try to tune off these additional channels. You can agree with your team how to respond on a certain chat messages, applications, and so on. So simply try to mentally focus on this one of your priorities. And now, let's say that generally we work 8 hours daily, right? So that this is something that we are paid for, something that we accepted, something that we agree that it is sustainable as a mode of operations for a longer period of time. It is very important to be able to close this PC lid, right? Or to switch off your computer, or simply to end your working day. It is absolutely hard to say that every environment you can do this in every environment, but it is also very healthy. It is very important to know that that if you work longer hours in a longer periods of time, you would probably not be as efficient, or at the most probably you will not have time to think. So you will not find a better ways to do the same thing. If you're always in these operations, if you always need 12 hours of work to do something, that means that the system in which we are working, if that is necessary, is flawed. So we need to make this counterintuitive step back and to understand, okay, how we address these issues so that in 6 months it will be better. And that's general approach that I have. So write things down, make priorities, agreed on priorities, and if possible, switch off additional communication channels, and be disciplined as much as you can to start and end your working day so that you can repeat it, and then in a longer period of time it can work so that you will not burn out. It is easy to say, it is not simple to implement, but that is how I manage. And if you have some good technique, please do share with others. And generally prioritization is something that is necessary. And maybe additional thing to mention: find a mentor, find also a coach, or simply a colleague that you can speak with don't hold all of these things inside yourself. Don't overthink alone. Normally we can find this friend, we can find this mentor, we can find more experienced person and actually ask for advice. Sometimes there are more clever things to do certain jobs, but don't hold everything for yourself. It's even therapeutic when you can simply speak to someone. So even by listening even to your own voice, you are reflecting on what you are talking about, right?